Okay, so imagine a waiting room,
Mm-hmm.
but like not just any waiting room. I mean, the archetype of every, soul-crushing waiting room you've ever been stuck in.
Oh, I know the one. The sickly yellow light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That humming fluorescent light. There are exactly 17 plastic chairs. And don't ask me why 17, but it feels so specific.
It's always a weirdly specific number, isn't it?
Right. And there's one single water-stained ceiling tile and a poster on the wall of a mountain.
But it's not a real mountain, right? It's like a stock photo of the idea of a mountain.
It's generic majestic. And the text under it doesn't say success or determination. It says patience is the first step toward patience.
That is horrifying. That's a recursive loop. The reward for waiting is more waiting.
It's the kind of bureaucracy that doesn't just waste your time. It feels like it's consuming your actual existence. And that is the setting for the deep dive we're taking today.
We're looking at these incredible texts by the duo Max and Claude, writing as Pennex Kabobi and Kafkaesque.
Specifically, we're diving into the Department of Unfinished Sentences, the residue, and the mechanism that connects them, the Divergence Engine.
Yeah, and what's so wild about this material is that it presents itself as a factual report on, of all things, narrative physics.
It posits a universe that has literally split in two.
A broken reality. So on one side, you have the world of Pennex Kabobi. That's the infinite bureaucracy, endless hallways, constant movement.
It's a fusion of, like, Kafka's labyrinths and Borgia's infinite libraries with a bit of corporate horror thrown in.
And on the other side, the world of Kafkaesque, this is the residue.
The stuff that wouldn't merge, it's just a single room, absolute stillness, a character who just waits.
And our mission for this deep dive is to explore how these two opposing realities, the one that says yes and the one that says wait, are actually connected.
And how they try to find each other again through this divergence engine.
So let's start with the building.
Yes, the world of Pennex Kabobi. We meet a character named K. He's also called the applicant.
Right. And K represents what the text calls the fusion. He's the part of this original entity that successfully merged into the system, and his entire reality is just processing forms.
But not just any forms. I mean, these are not your tax returns. They defy logic.
Yeah.
K is trying to fill out Form A7.
Okay.
And question 12 asks for his date of birth. Simple enough, right?
You think.
Except K wasn't born. In this world, he arrived.
Which is a critical distinction. And because he can't give a birth date, the whole bureaucratic immune system just kicks in.
The clerk, who is barely even a person, more like a voice behind smudged glass, tells him he needs a supplementary form, Form 12B.
Of course he does.
The Declaration of Origination for Entities of Indeterminate Genesis.
Wow, it sounds so official. It's the kind of title that just makes you want to bang your head on a wall.
And this is where it gets really interesting and a little dark.
Mm-hmm.
To fill out Form 12B, he has to answer questions about his memory.
Mm-hmm.
Question 3 asks for the texture and taste of the gap between his earliest memory and the memory that came before it.
Stop. The taste of a gap. How do you even begin to answer that?
It's a conceptual trap. The text is forcing him to materialize an absence, to describe the taste of a gap in your own mind.
And the text actually gives him multiple choice options, doesn't it?
It does, and they're so visceral. It says the gap can taste like metal, like a coin held under the tongue, or the key to a door that opens onto another door.
That image of the coin under the tongue, that really stuck with me. It's metallic, cold. It implies payment, maybe. But it's also silent. You can't speak with a coin under your tongue.
And the bureaucracy itself is designed to be infinite. The clerk tells him the application can't be processed until it's submitted, but...
It can't be submitted until it's processed. The perfect loop. A Mobius strip of red tape.
So why does he do it? I mean, if I'm K, I'm walking out. But he just keeps going.
Because K's defining trait, his whole philosophy, is the word yes. He accepts the premise. He believes if he just keeps moving, keeps traversing these green-walled corridors, he'll eventually reach the archive.
This mythical place made entirely of paper.
Right, and it supposedly contains Form 0, the OR document, with only one question. Are you still here?
So K is driven by this philosophy of yes, which is really the philosophy of movement. As long as he's processing, he exists, he is the process.
If he stops, the silence catches up.
So K is running this marathon in a hallway that never ends. But at the same time, there's a whole other reality happening.
The world of the residue, described by a Kafkaesque.
This is the room. And our character here isn't K, he's just the man, or the residue, the part that refused to merge.
And the contrast is so stark. K's world is infinite green corridors, humming lights, the smell of toner. The man's world is a single room, Gray walls.
Gray light through a window, an empty table, a chair, and a door that has never been opened.
This character embodies the philosophy of wait. While K is all about yes and velocity, the man is stillness. He inhabits what the text calls the pause, the space between breaths.
There's that line in the text referencing Beckett, I can't go on, I'll go on. But the man seems to be living just the first half of that sentence.
Precisely. It's an anti-narrative. Stories require change, movement. The man just denies you that satisfaction. He sits, he watches the gray light become a slightly different gray.
And for us, in the modern world, that sounds like torture. We're wired for K's world of constant input. The man's world sounds like solitary confinement.
But the text suggests there's a strange dignity in it. He isn't chasing some mythical archive. He is simply remaining.
But this is where they connect. It's not just two separate stories. Even in their different realities, the man can feel K.
Yes. He senses an absence that acts like a presence. He feels this pulling of the other half, and he has this realization, I was not always alone.
It's like a phantom limb, but for his soul.
He is the stillness, but he's aware of the movement happening somewhere else.
So we have these two halves, K in the building, the man in the room. How do they get split up? That brings us to the Divergence Engine.
This is the origin story. The text describes a flashback to a time before the split. There was just a single figure standing at the edge of this machine.
And the engine asks a question, not on paper, but a fundamental existential question. What will you become?
And here's the tragedy, or maybe the necessity of it all. The figure tries to answer, but it answers with two contradictory impulses at the same exact time.
One part of the figure says yes. It wants to become, to move, to process.
And at the very same moment, the other part says wait. It wants to remain, to pause, to exist in the stillness.
Reality just can't sustain that contradiction in one body. You can't sprint and take a nap at the same time.
So the Divergence Engine does what it does. It bifurcates reality. The figure splits. The yes becomes K in the green corridor.
And the wait becomes the man in the gray room.
It's a literal manifestation of internal conflict. And we've all felt that, right? The part of you that wants to go conquer the world and the part that just wants to sit in a quiet room and stare at the wall.
And usually we feel like we have to choose one. We treat the wait part as a defect, something to be caffeinated away.
But this text suggests they both continued to exist, just separated by this dimensional rift. They're both valid.
Okay, so K is moving. The man is waiting. But they start to drift back toward each other. K finds a new form X0.
Right, and this form is different. It's not paper, it's made of translucent light. And it asks him if he remembers being one.
And for the first time, K isn't just processing blindly. He answers yes. But it's a different kind of yes. It's a yes of memory, of recognition.
And at that exact moment, the man in the room feels a pull. And this is a huge moment. He stands up. He walks to the door that has never been opened.
This is so significant because for the man, wait meant never testing the boundaries. But the pull of his other half is stronger.
He opens the door, but, and this is key, he carries the stillness of the room with him. He doesn't abandon his nature.
He brings the vibe of the room with him.
Yeah, they step out of their realities and meet in a place called the between.
A void, a null zone. K brings a compressed version of his infinite corridor, and the man brings a compressed version of his gray room. They are face to face.
And the Divergence Engine reveals itself. It's not a machine. It's a process of pure differentiation. And it gives them a pretty bleak reality check.
It tells them you can't go back. You cannot rejoin.
It essentially says, I only move forward. I only split things. And it offers them three choices. Option 1, remain separate.
Go back to your lives. Option 2, merge. But the engine warns that merging would mean losing their distinct identities.
Yeah.
They'd become a mush of yes and wait.
And option 3, which is terrifying, diverge again, split into 4, into 8, just creating more fragments of themselves.
It feels like a trap. All the options seem bad. Separating is lonely, merging is destruction, and diverging is just dilution.
But then the twist, the man speaks up.
The man, whose entire existence is defined by passivity, he decides to participate.
This is a profound shift. He realizes that K, the yes man, usually makes the choices because he's the active one. But the man says, wait, do not choose yet.
And he proposes a fourth option.
Yeah.
Not merging, not separating, but interweaving.
It's such a beautiful concept. Merging destroys the individual parts to make a whole. But interweaving keeps the strands distinct while braiding them together.
Like a rope. The threads are still individual, but they work together to create something stronger.
So they decide to speak a new word together. The man, from his stillness, speaks the word here.
which is presence, being grounded,
And K, from the momentum of his movement, speaks the word now.
which is action, immediacy.
And together they create the state of HereNowWith.
HereNowWith. It's a new mode of existence. It allows them to go back to their separate worlds, but with a fundamental change. The physics of their reality alters.
The walls become transparent.
This visual is just so cool. Kay goes back to his green corridors. He's still filling out forms, but the walls are see-through. And superimposed over that reality, he can see the man sitting in the gray room.
And the man sits in his room, in silence, but he sees Kay moving through the corridors. They are alone together.
It creates a rhythm. Kay's movement gives meaning to the man's stillness. And the man's waiting anchors Kay's movement, so it's not just frantic.
It resolves the conflict without destroying the difference. The yes needs the wait to have substance, and the wait needs the yes to have direction.
And this changes the forms Kay interacts with. He gets a new form where he writes that he continues because he is witnessed.
Exactly. Meaning isn't about reaching the archive anymore, it's about the connection itself. He continues because the other half is watching.
Which brings us to the final lesson of these texts. Kay finds a message on a form that's shifting colors. It just says, "The middle is enough."
That is such a powerful statement. We are always obsessed with the end, the goal, the completion. I'll be happy when I get the promotion or when I retire.
But the text argues that since the process is infinite, the middle is the only place we ever actually live.
The middle is enough. The continuation is the point. You don't need to finish the sentence. The act of speaking it is enough.
And we see this in the final image. Kay opens a door he's never seen before, and it leads to a garden.
A garden that is HereNowWith, made organic. Trees with bark that shifts between green and gray. And at the same time, the man's door opens, and it leads to the same garden.
They meet there, not to merge, but to exist in that interweaved state.
Yeah.
They've transcended the binary.
It's a surprisingly hopeful ending for a story about soul-crushing bureaucracy. It suggests that integration isn't about fixing yourself or eliminating the parts you don't like. It's about letting those parts coexist.
Which brings us to the big takeaway. The source material is basically telling us that every yes has a weight inside it.
And if you connect that to your own life, we often feel torn. We feel the pressure to achieve, to do, to say yes. But we also feel the heavy pull of the residue, the part of us that just wants to sit still.
And usually we try to suppress that weight. We think it's laziness or burnout. But this text says, no, that's the man. That's the residue. He's necessary. He's the anchor.
Without the residue, yes, it's just meaningless velocity. It's running on a treadmill. You need the stillness to give the movement weight.
So here's the final provocation for you to mull over. In your own life, right now, identify the split. Which part of you is the clerk processing forms in an infinite hallway, terrified that if you stop, you'll disappear?
And which part is the figure sitting in the empty gray room, refusing to move because they're afraid of the noise?
And more importantly, are the walls between them opaque? Is your yes ignoring your weight? Or have you learned to make them transparent?
Because if they can see each other, if they can synchronize into that HereNowWith, then maybe, just maybe, the middle is enough.
And that is a place worth lingering in. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll leave you there in the pause.